core of our topic for today, which is differentiated learning. Okay, and that idea of differentiated learning is actually anchored on your idea or on your understanding of the different learning styles. Okay, but okay, as mentioned earlier, okay, we're going to try to understand better and further and deeper the idea of learning styles because we might be using it differently. We might be using it in the wrong way. We might be understanding learning styles I don't know, incorrectly. And that's what we hope to correct today, teachers. No? Yung tamang paggamit at tamang pagkakaunawa sa learning styles at paano nga ba ito makakatulong sa atin bilang mga guro in terms of differentiating learning inside our classes, no, regardless if that's face to face or in a distance learning setup. Okay. So first of all, okay, let's first talk about now what does science say about relationship between learning styles, instruction, and learning outcomes. And it's based on this research by Newton and Salvi in 2020. They said no that study after study has shown that matching instructional mode to students' supposedly identified learning style does not produce better learning outcomes. Okay, and this is why some people know and would think that learning styles actually a myth. No, yes, it's a myth if you actually pair up no or try to use learning styles to actually just change no, or alter the learning outcomes. Okay, because it's not always going to be just that way, no, that kind of relationship. Okay. So there's really not that very strong relationship that if you attend no to the learning styles of your students, that you will eventually increase the learning outcomes. So we're going to talk about so what's for why do I need to know about learning styles? Okay. And of course, in fact, a student's learning style may not even predict the way that they prefer to be taught, okay, or the way they actually choose to study on their own. Okay, so that's one of the things that we'll have to remember. Okay, because if we intend to use learning styles to impact okay, learning outcomes, then we are actually using learning styles okay, in a wrong way. Right? Because that's not going to actually work because you're actually stereotyping your students and you're actually, no, I saw some comments in the audience earlier that's actually going to limit your students further. Yes, no. Ironically, that's going to be the case, teachers, no, that if we use their learning styles just that, okay, it's actually going to inhibit them and limit them further in actually learning more and learning better. Okay, so that's one of the things that we'll have to remember. And of course, now what needs to be avoided is already mentioned earlier, okay, that we cannot pigeonhole our students. Okay, you cannot stereotype your students as being such kind of learner. Oh, you're an auditory learner. You're a visual learner. Okay, you are a kinesthetic learner. Okay, so those that kind of mentality actually, okay, is a misuse of the learning styles. Okay, because the learning styles is not there, okay, in order to label students. Because again, labeling, okay, will actually inhibit them. Okay, so when you label a particular student to their particular learning style, you're actually boxing them, and boxing them actually limits them in experiencing no or having opportunities to learn some other ways. Okay, so it's not just one. Okay, so they might have some preferences and they might have some dominant learning styles, but it does not mean that they don't learn no, in other ways. Okay, so you cannot, like for example, remove all those other opportunities from them just because they are more of a visual learner, they are more of an auditory learner. Okay, because again, that's a mistake no in using your or the idea of learning styles. Okay, so again, we will not pigeonhole. Okay, the idea, no, the basic idea of knowing your students' learning styles, okay, could come in two things. Okay, the first one is that knowing your students' learning styles, okay, you can actually create variations in your instruction. Mentioned by Teacher Pao already earlier, okay, that by doing so, okay, you're actually trying to meet as many students' needs as possible. Okay. Second, okay, knowing your students' learning styles, okay, learning preferences, okay, levels, okay, of cognition in your class, no, is actually also a way of meeting them where they are. Okay, so these are the primary uses of learning styles. It's not to label your students because again, doing that, no, labeling your students automatically negates the idea of differentiated learning. Okay? So we want to know what kind of learner you are so that I can differentiate my instruction enough to accommodate as much learners as I can. Mamaya pag-usapan natin, Sir Franco, paano ba yan? Ang dami naming learners. Okay. Like we have 60, 70 learners in the classroom. Do I differentiate it that way? Mamaya pag-uusapan natin yan when we talk about the realities in Philippine education. Okay? And of course, no, meeting them where they are, no, knowing the learning styles, no, learning preferences, learning levels of your students is also an opportunity to meet your students where they are, so that you can actually guide them slowly, gradually to meet the standards, no, of your subject, okay, of the grade level, etc. Okay?